Your donors are busy. There's a lot of noise in their life. The frontline fundraisers who are able to break through that noise and get noticed by their donor will have the ability to win their hearts and minds. In today's podcast, Richard and I give you 7 ways you can stand out with your donor so that they will engage with you and help you build an authentic relationship with them.
Welcome to the Nothing But Major Gifts podcast from Veritas Group, featuring Richard Perry and Jeff Schreifels. Twice a month, we bring you the latest and best thinking about major gift fundraising, so you can develop authentic relationships with your major donors. Here are your hosts, Richard and Jeff.
Welcome again to the podcast today. I'm Jeff Schreifels, and of course, I have Richard Perry with me. And Richard, I should point out, we've been doing our podcast for over a year now with you in Asheville, North Carolina, and me in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And I think we've been able to kind of pull this off.
We have.
But I mean, I really do miss being together.
I know.
And now that, but hey, we've now got our vaccination shots. I think we should do it soon.
I know. Isn't it great to get those shots? My goodness. I hope everybody that's listening has been able to get one, or at least is on some kind of a list, or no. But yeah, I know. Even though it feels like we're in the same room, it's a lot more fun when we're literally in the same room. And I mean, now it gives us an excuse to get out of our house, for goodness sake.
Exactly. Okay, this is going to be fun today because we're going to talk about the 7 ways to stand out with your donors.
Yeah, not only will this be a really fun discussion, I also think it's going to be important, Jeff. And here's why. You know, when you think about when we first start working with thousands of major gift officers, you and I and our team, you know, we've worked with over the years.
Yeah.
When we first start out with them, most of them are failing their organizations and donors. And by failing, we mean things just aren't working properly. The revenue's not coming in. The ratios aren't right, and all that kind of thing. Now, I'm not putting the blame on them, so please hear me. It's just that they're not serving their donors properly. I mean, they don't know how to stand out among the crowd because they haven't had the proper training on what to do. I mean, that's the bottom line.
I totally agree. And what's great for our listener today is that we're going to take all those years and all that work we've done with those thousands of frontline fundraisers and pass on to you on how you can properly cultivate your donor and stand out in your donor's mind and heart and get them to actually engage with you.
That's right. And so what Jeff and I have done is come up with 7 ways you can stand out to your donor so that whenever your donor thinks about your organization, there is nothing but really positive feelings from that donor about not only the mission, but how they're treated as a human being and how they're relating to you.
This is so important because, I mean, let's just be honest. There are probably 5 to 6 other organizations that are in a relationship of some type with your donor at the same level as your organization.
That's right.
We forget that because a lot of times we think, well, this donor's just, passionate about our cause.
Just loves us, nobody else.
Right. But we know that's not true. Plus, there's probably another 10 or so that are trying to get to know your donor.
Exactly.
So there's all this communication, noise, information that's hitting your donor all the time. Besides, and that's just on their philanthropy. They've got a life too, right?
Exactly.
So there's a lot going on. All right. So let's get into this, Richard. What is the first way for our listener to stand out with a donor?
Well, the first one, and this is an important value to you and me, the first one is to be authentic, be real.
Absolutely.
Be yourself.
Yes.
I mean, this, if there's anything that I've learned over all these years I've been living, is the peace that comes into your spirit, into your heart, into your world when you're with somebody that's telling you the truth, that's being the truth, that really is who they say they are.
Yeah.
And whose activities with you are true and they're dependable. I mean, Jeff, you know how this whole thing about about authenticity is so important to us, not only in our relationship,
Yeah.
but our relationship with our significant others and our relationship in business as well.
Yeah. It is absolutely essential. And, you know, when you think about this major gift work, or mid-level and plan giving work, the beauty of all of this is that we get to work directly with donors one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big responsibility too, because we're supposed to be developing relationships. And if you think about all the good relationships you've had with people, it's because you've been able to be authentic and be
Right.
vulnerable with the person. And that allows the other person to be authentic, tell the truth, and be real with you. And this is just so essential, but yet it's so difficult, it seems, because we've run into so many major gift officers who don't have this part down or don't think it's important.
Yeah, when you think about the whole thing about authenticity, I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, Jeff, is like when I have a tendency not to be authentic, why am I doing that? And the reason is because I am adopting behavior that I think is going to keep me safe with the other person. In other words, I'll get in trouble if I'm authentic.
Yeah.
So I cover up and I do some other behavior.
Yeah.
And you do that with a donor, and that's just like death. Well, it's death in any kind of relationship.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is if you just ignore that little voice that says, you're going to get in trouble if you say that, or you're going to go down that track. If you ignore that little voice and you're just authentic, it's amazing what comes back from the other person and from the donor. It's a sense of real trust. I mean, it's an unbelievable experience. So this first one about being authentic is very, very critical.
Yeah. And unfortunately, if you are authentic and real, you will stand out. And I say that unfortunately, because I don't think most people are real and authentic with donors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's go to the next one. This one's related. And this one is very simply, and we've kind of already talked about it a bit, but it's simply to tell the truth. We've heard so many horror stories from donors where, they'll give a gift and something happens at the organization where they don't actually use the gift as intended. Mm-hmm. And then they never get back to the donor to actually tell them because they're afraid. And so then the donor's like, I'm never giving to this organization again. I can't trust them.
Yeah. And the offense wasn't that something changed at the organization. The offense was not telling them. The offense, not the offense, the offense.
Yeah.
That was, that's what bothered the donor.
Yeah.
And you think about that personally, Jeff. I mean, you and we tell each other the truth, and we practice that in our significant relationships and with our employees.
Yes.
And the times we've held each other accountable on that has been very important. Like, well, what's the truth?
Exactly.
And it's a wonderful thing to have with donors.
All right. So telling the truth, so important. Yeah,
it is. And the next one I think is to be a great listener and to be perceptive.
Huge.
So the thing that's a problem in mid and major and planned gifts and this whole fundraising thing is that oftentimes we're after the money, right?
Yeah.
And so therefore our whole drive is to do our agenda and get the money, which actually causes deafness. I mean, it actually causes you to be deaf because you can't hear, you can't be in a position to listen to what the donor's saying because you got to get your hands on that money.
Right. Good point.
So that's a big one.
Gosh, if we could listen better, just think of how we would be better major gift fundraisers. I mean, we would be able to hear the donor's passion, interest, be able to understand why, and be that bridge that we're supposed to be between the need and the donor's desires. I mean, we would be so much better at it if we could just listen and not come with our agenda or our thoughts and just be present with the donor.
I know the donor actually wants a true partner, somebody that will actually listen to them and walk with them on doing good on the planet. And that's why they've chosen you as an organization, because they believe that they can get what they want to get done through you. And being a good partner is listening well.
Yeah. Well, kind of related to that is the next one is ask good questions, and I like Oprah would. Now, did you see that interview that she did?
Oh, with Harry and Meghan?
Yeah,
that was something.
I mean, I wasn't going to watch it because I'm not really into that whole thing. But my daughter, Katie, she's not a sports person at all, but she texts me. She goes, "Dad, are you going to watch this?" And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, "No, Dad, this is my Super Bowl." I'm like, okay, cool. I guess I better watch it. And I'm so glad I did.
Yeah.
Because she was amazing to watch how she asked those questions, listened, and then responded directly to how Meghan or Harry responded. You know, like you could tell she was right in there with them. She was vulnerable. She was curious, empathetic, and compassionate all at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of what you think of the topic, that whole business of Harry and Meghan and the royals and all that. So regardless of what you think about that, the form and style of asking good questions in that interview was really something. I mean, it's really something to behold. Yeah.
And it made me think, while she's doing this, I'm like, gosh, this is just a great lesson for frontline fundraisers on how they should be able to talk with their donors. And their donors, if they could hear the questions from the major gift officer, like Oprah was doing, they themselves would give so much more over to the major gift officer. They would know the major gift officer would get so much honesty, stories, understanding what the passion and interests of the donor are, why they have them. I mean, she made them feel comfortable to be vulnerable.
I know, it was good. Okay, here's the fifth way to stand out to your donors: to build your strategic plan for the donor with specific touch points that shows the donor that you know her.
Yes.
Now, you remember when we had Frank Munford on?
Yeah.
Who noticed, and I just love that story because he noticed his donor loved dolphins because he saw them all in the guy's office.
Yeah.
And Frank's on the plane and he reads an article about dolphins, rips it out of the magazine, and sends it to the donor. Yeah. I mean, now is the donor's like his best friend. I mean,
I know. Right.
You noticed, I mean, and you saw a touch point that showed that, okay, this guy really loves dolphins.
Yeah.
I mean, so as you're listening to Jeff and me today, what do you know about the donor along those lines, where if you sent them some material or some content, they would say to you, "Oh, that person knows me." That's what's important.
And it's powerful. I mean, you might think, "Oh, this dolphin thing is kind of silly," but it's not. This is something the donor cared about. Frank, he's, a month later is flying on a plane, sees this article and thinks, because he's smart, hey, that donor would love this, sends it. I mean, it's a simple act that he did, but it was huge for the donor. Yep. And now, I mean, anytime he calls, he gets an appointment.
Yes.
In front of him.
Yep. It's a done deal.
That one little thing.
Yeah. So touch points that show the donor that you know the donor are very important if they're built into your plan, but you've got to know them first, which requires listening, asking questions, all the stuff we've already talked about.
Yeah.
Very important.
All right. Okay. So this one is good. And what we would say, this is an absolute in all of them. This is an absolute and that is report on the impact of that donor's gift and make it as personal as possible.
Wow. That's How many times have we said, Jeff? I mean, it's absolutely true that the major reason a donor goes away is they didn't know their gift made a difference.
Right.
I mean, it's just amazing.
It's it's one of our pillars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have a story about this, right?
Oh, you have a story, the Bob story.
Hold on. Okay. Now, this one is an absolute. This one I'm going to say, but it is report on the impact of a gift and make it as personal as possible.
Exactly. I mean, this whole thing about reporting on impact. I mean, Jeff, we've said it a million times.
Yeah.
The major reason a donor goes away is they didn't know their gift made a difference.
Yeah.
This is just critical. In major gifts.
Is essential, and it's the number one reason why donors go away. We didn't tell them how their gift made a difference. This reminds me of our story of our friend Bob, who's a CEO of a medium-sized nonprofit, not huge. And he was having breakfast one day with a donor at a diner when we used to be able to do that. And so he, as he's having breakfast, and he notices another of his donors at the same diner. Mm-hmm. So when he's finished with having breakfast, he pays and he goes over to the donor and says, "Hey, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. It's great to see you." And he kind of notices, this donor is a little different towards, like he's just not his normal self with him.
Right.
And so Bob, says, "Hey, is everything okay?" And the donor, he's like, "Well, I didn't want to say anything, but, a few months ago, I gave you a pretty significant gift, and I never heard back. What happened?" He said, I got a thank you letter in the mail, but I never heard back. What happened with that gift? And Bob was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know about this." So he goes back to the office, finds out, that, they receipted it. They got it around holiday time. So there was all kinds of stuff going on. And someone said, "Yeah, we were supposed to do this and get back, but basically they just dropped the ball." And Bob was like, "We've got to figure out, we got to send him an impact report, talk about what's going on." But he calls back the donor. He said, "I'm just really sorry. I found out, we dropped the ball. And I feel really, really bad about it." And the donor says this to Bob. He said, "Bob, I don't want you to feel too bad." Because when I sent you that $25,000 check, which was huge for them, $25,000, I also sent 7 other organizations $25,000 in the same time.
That's a sum of money, isn't it?
200,000, right? In total, but 8 total organizations. And he said, only one organization of the 8 wrote back to me and told me how my gift made a difference. So you're not alone. And Bob was like, "Oh my gosh, who was it?" And he said, "The one organization that reported back to me was this small food pantry in West Virginia run by an 80-year-old woman. And she wrote this donor an 8-page handwritten note explaining exactly what she did with his $25,000.
Yeah.
So you know what happened the next year? He gave the whole $200,000 to this food pantry.
See, there it is.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I hear that story, I am just so floored by the fact that this simple equation about reporting on an impact and making it personal is so critical.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the final one. A way to stand out is to thank your donor properly.
Huge. That's huge.
It's huge. I have one story of a lost check that sat. It was about a $40,000 check, maybe 35, that sat in the drawer of a finance person who forgot about it.
Oh no!
And that's one where the relationship went south. You remember the story of the organization that the finance people didn't want to hire new, more receipters during the Christmas season, so they didn't.
Oh, yeah.
And so they had this whole stack of envelopes. I mean, probably 800 to 1,000 envelopes that had gifts in them, that they took the money out and banked it, but they didn't actually process the donor thank you for 2 months.
Oh,
2 months. And the attrition on those donors was just unbelievable.
Well, yeah.
And you juxtapose that against the donor that was giving at the $10,000 level and was really communicated well by the major gift officer about what the program was doing, what the project was, got involved in it, got involved in the details, was so exciting that they gave $4 million.
Wow.
This whole thing about thanking the donor is not only respectful and honoring to the donor, but it's a very critical piece in maintaining donor giving and upgrading the donor. And you can see why. So that's the final way to actually stand out to your donors, to thank them properly.
Wow. Okay. Well, this was good stuff.
Yeah.
And Richard, I think we can guarantee that if you do these 7 things with a donor, you will definitely stand out.
You will definitely stand out because people aren't doing them well.
No, they're not. I mean, and these are not, these are simple things.
They're very simple.
They take effort, but it's not like, oh, you have to have some grand strategy or anything. This is just 7 strong ways to stand out and cultivate and serve your donor well. And if you do this, you'll develop strong relationships with it. I mean, we've seen it happen over and over again. All right. Well, hey, we've got a free resource for you today. Go to veritasgroup.com and find our resources tab. And under white papers, you'll see transporting your donor to the scene.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great white paper that will help you connect with your donor and make an indelible impression. Another great way to stand out. So really go to veritasgroup.com and find transporting your donor to the scene. And thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
See you later. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Nothing But Major Gifts podcast from Veritas Group. Richard and Jeff also write an ongoing blog that you can subscribe to for free at veritasgroup.com. Please join us again next time.